Squirrel, $20. Can I ask Father Stephen to explain the wrath of God? We got a PSA conversation here. Let's explain the wrath of God.
Wrath of God.
Explain the wrath
free
of
examples.
God. The whole thing.
So, God's wrath is a description of the human experience of God's divine energy of justice when it's experienced negatively. Meaning, when God judges, we've talked before, justice means everything's in the right place, functioning properly, everything is related, right, correctly. That gets out of order in some way, there is injustice, and then to judge means to put it back in order. Okay, so when God judges and puts things back in order, right, the typical biblical language is there are some people who are high up who end up low. There are some people who are low who end up exalted, right? Like he who humbles himself will be exalted, he who exalts himself will be humbled, right? So the people who suffer the loss, the people who are humbled, the people who experience the negative, right? That is the experience of God's wrath. And sort of the ultimate of the experience of God's wrath is what we call eternal condemnation, meaning at the last judgment, they're the ones who would be found against, right? They would be the ones who would experience what is variously called eternal death, meaning eternal spiritual death, the lake of fire, the outer darkness, being shut out of the kingdom, all of that imagery. That's all imagery. None of it's literal, right? Like how can, Christ says, depart from me, I never knew you. How can you depart from someone who's omnipresent? Right. Well, so it's not literal, right? This is all imagery to help us understand this is a horrible reality that we don't want to understand, right? Yeah, that's God's wrath.
Yeah, it's the same thing. There's like this idea that somehow God changes. Like it's the people that change. Like you have different people and they experience God in different ways.
But two things that God's wrath definitely is not. Number one, is definitely not the emotion of anger. God doesn't experience emotions. He is impassible, right? This is basic theology.
Yeah.
Okay. Two, right? It is not punishment, like a beating or right?
Yeah, not in the sense that we think of in like retributive justice, right? I think like the fathers say that like the reason like we have punishments, but it's not in the same sense of the word, to be remedial, so that we like learn from our mistakes, to
discipline.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. But yes, it is not punishment in the sense of inflicting suffering,
right,
based on an emotional state, right? Or even
it really does imply a change in God.
Right.
You did something mad, now God is mad at you.
There is no real concept of penal justice in the Bible. This is something that comes up in medieval Roman Catholic Latin theology, that suffering somehow ameliorates guilt. That committing an evil act contracts the state of guilt upon you, and that is removed by you suffering in some related quantitative measure. Right. And that's, one of the reasons why the American prison system fundamentally doesn't work, coming from a former corrections officer, is that it is based on that. Right. And you hear this language, it's like, oh, this person did this thing, right? This person committed this violent crime. So we put him in a cage with other violent criminals for a certain period of time. And then once that period of time is over, he has, quote unquote, paid his debt to society. And so he walks out and now everything's fine. Everything's like it was before, right? Zero problems have been solved, right? More problems have been created, but none of the original ones have been solved by this. right? This person is not rehabilitated in any way. In fact, they've probably gotten worse during their time in prison with other criminals, right? Him having been in a cage for that number of years has not helped any of the victims or their families in any way, right? There's been no restitution to them whatsoever. They're just supposed to feel better that he spent some time there. But now that he's out, they're supposed to be over it. Right? Like it fundamentally makes no sense, but it's based in this bad theology, right? And so God does not have to, for God to make justice happen again, he doesn't have to hurt anyone.
Right.
He doesn't have to make anyone suffer. The suffering is incidental, right?
Right.
If I start some kind of pyramid scheme and make millions of dollars and buy a multi-million-dollar home and a fleet of cars and all this, and then I get found out that I was running a scheme and I lose all that money, right? Well, yes, now I'm living in some crummy apartment somewhere. I'm suffering, but that's not suffering that was inflicted on me to pay some kind of penalty for my crimes, right? It's just the result of all that unjust wealth being taken away from me and justice being restored, right? And it being given back, hopefully, to the people I took it from.
Yeah. Good small question. Just explain the wrath of God real quick.
Yeah.